talking about is addressed here somewhere. All adolescents. Tremendous amount of peer pressure, and that's what they're responding to. Now, I want to say this to the parents of the preteens, and understand this. Whatever behaviors and values that your children have developed up to the preteen years, it's those same behaviors and values that's going to get them through the preteen years. If you have a stormy relationship with your children at the beginning of the preteen years, it's going to be stormy going through those years. Because the teen years are very stormy years anyhow. You follow what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is with those of you who have these youngsters, it's important that whatever your relationship is, it has to be a healthy relationship as they get to the teen years. Because at the teen years, all of what you have taught them, they're going to test it. They're going to test it with their friends. All the values that they have, it will be under fire. Under fire. Because of the peer pressure during those teen years. So all I'm saying is when we talk about killers of dreams, we know that drugs will do that. We know that teen pregnancy, we know that dropout. You know that. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about the other things that will kill dreams. When I carried my son to college, we drove on the campus, I drove straight to the library. I said, this is the only building that you need to spend significant amount of time in the library. Between the classroom and the library. I said, all the other stuff is just funny being in college. What I'm saying is it's important, as you monitor your children, that you make sure that they develop, as Eric was saying, you develop some goals. How do you get from point A to point B? You develop within them a sense of responsibility. You got to plan your time and use your time wisely. That's what college is all about. How do you manage that time? You don't suddenly say, well, I'll do it later. Mañana. No, they have to develop proficiency in writing. Okay? Proficiency in writing. Let me just share this personal story. My sister's daughter finished Brown University. And my son is a senior at FAMU. They're 30 days apart. When she was in the 7th grade, she visited me. She had this book, the APA Style Manual, 7th grade. I said, what are you doing with that? She said, we use this. I know kids in graduate school, this young man is smiling, you must be familiar with the APA Style Manual. I know students in graduate school that cannot use the APA Style Manual. These are kids in private school that are exposed to those kinds of things in 6th grade. All I'm saying is that if you make demands on the school, you make demands that your children learn how to write. You understand what I'm saying? They must know, they must have writing proficiency. Otherwise, that's another killer of your dreams. And they're proficient in algebra, at least through algebra. They will make it in college. But they must be proficient through algebra. I mean, if they don't do calculus and all that, and I'm not saying that they don't need that, but they must be proficient through algebra. They must have some sense of science. They must have that. I mean, I'm just telling you how schools are changing, and they're making more demands, not less, not fewer demands. And college isn't getting any easier. So by not to take notes, okay, kids have to learn how to take notes. You can learn, I mean, once you can write, you can begin to learn how to study, how to take notes. How to listen. You know, 50% of the problems in the public school, 50% of the problems in the public school could be solved if children or students knew how to listen, follow directions, and execute. I'm telling you, it's that simple. Half of the problems is because kids don't have a sense of being disciplined. It's not that they're bad. They don't know how to manage themselves. Managing yourself means that if someone is lecturing, you should be able to listen and take notes from that. And at some point, elaborate on your...
So at a lower cost, it's less financial aid. At a place like Brown, you'll get more. So in that particular... Let me give you another example. So let's say at school A, if the costs are $3,000, if your family contribution is $3,000, you're not eligible for financial aid. If you apply to a place like Brown and the family contribution is $3,000, you're eligible for $18,600. Okay. someone just asked me to explain family contribution. Family contribution, everyone, is the calculated contribution from the student from summer work, contribution from the student from what they have in savings, and mom and dad's contribution. That is the family contribution. Exactly.
Now, there is an article in USA Today stating that there is a certain amount of salaries that then says that your student is not available for any financial aid. What is that ceiling?
Well, that's involved. Let me give you an example. You can't always base it on total income. I can highlight family A. Mom is a widow. She just lost her husband a year ago. She makes $30,000 a year in her job. She only has one child. In that particular case, she's not eligible for financial aid. Why? Let me give you some background. When Dad died, they had sizable savings. They got $200,000 or $300,000 in savings. The house may be paid for. She may own 2 or 3 apartment buildings. She's getting Social Security and a union pension from her deceased husband's job. The child may be also getting Social Security. The child may have sizable assets. Dad may have left a very talented son or daughter a trust fund. They're not eligible. Conversely, you can have a family where both mom and dad is working. They're making $125,000 a year. They're eligible for financial aid. Why? There's 4 kids in college. The oldest is going to Emory to med school. Number 2 is going to Spelman. Number 3 is going to Brown. And number 4 is going to Georgia State. They have no savings. All they have invested is really what they got in the home. So you have to look at more than just total income. You have to look at total income, number of people in the family, allowances against income, what you have in assets, and that's what's going to affect the parental contribution.
False promises. Boy, if you don't do so-and-so, I'm going to whip you. I'm not going to let you do so-and-so. And know good and well when they said it, they're not going to carry it out. And pretty soon, when you tell your son or daughter, I'm going to do so-and-so, they just look at you and go on and do what they're going to do because they figure you didn't do it last time you promised. You didn't do it the time before they promised. So therefore, they recognize that you don't mean to carry out your promises. So they say, oh, she just saying it. Don't pay that no attention. The same way when you say you're not going anywhere before you get your homework. And they'll come up with a sad sob story and tell you, everybody else is going but me. You so mean, you so hard. But if you tell them they're not going out unless they do their homework, and then you give in, why even promise it? They know you're just faking and jiving. And I often say young people are a lot smarter than we are because they really know how to manipulate. And they don't wait to get 16. They start manipulating when they're 2 and 3 months old. Do you remember when they start crying, you start walking towards the crib, and then they'll stop crying, and then if you stop walking, they'll start crying again because they don't hear the knock? Hey, they've already learned that game. So you have to start early because they learn early now. I think they come here with about a 6-year-old learning before they even get into this world. Parents, another way to help young people plan is yourself become involved in the community. Know what's going on in the community. Belong to the PTA. Do those kinds of things that are making up that community. And then if they're not, it doesn't hurt you to find out why. Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Campfire, church clubs, and all these kinds of things. One of the reasons that our young people get into so much outside activity is because there ain't nothing for them to do, and we ain't out there trying to get anything for them to do. Why should I go to PTA? Ain't nobody gonna be there. But why should I go at 7 o'clock? It's not gonna start until 8 o'clock. Well, you be there. Don't worry about those other people. And that's another game that young people play on us. Everybody's doing it but me. You're not responsible for everybody else. You're only responsible for your own. And they have to learn that early enough in life so that it'll have some merit to it. Another thing is following up. Now, that's hard to do, but if you start it early enough, they will believe that you're going to follow it up, and then sometimes you can kind of overlook it because it becomes a habit. They know mom and dad is going to follow. If I say I'm going over to Joe's house, and I detour and go over to Mac's house, and mama calls over to Joe, I'm not there, and she wants to know, where were you? Why didn't you go to where you said you would go? See, you're building up responsibility. Concerned about how they are doing in the schoolwork. And they tell you, oh, I'm doing all right. I'm doing good. How do you know they're doing good? When's the last time have you talked to their instructors? When's the last time have you been to school? I saw a young lady walking here tonight. I haven't seen her since she was knee-high to a duck. And here she's getting ready to finish high school, going on to college. Because I think I'm the oldest one here, and I know this changed since I was coming through. Because now, if I want to know how many students did such and such, their grade point average, etc., in the home, about the giving and the taking. There's a lot more taking when you get out in the world than giving. You can't cuss everybody out because you don't like what they're doing. You can't set a job description to fit you. First of all, you don't own the business, so how are you going to set the rules? And that's something we have to learn. We have to learn it early. And the best teachers that I know are parents. Now, some of them